The Mafia is a famous network of organized crime groups based, primarily, in Italy and the United States. The Mafia flourished in Sicily, an Italian island ruled by a long line of foreign invaders until the mid-19th century, so some Sicilians decided to band together to protect themselves and defend their land. In Sicily, the term mafiosi, or member of the mafia, originally had no criminal connotations and was used to refer to a person who had a negative attitude towards the central government. However, by the middle of the 19th century, some of these groups had evolved into private armies or mafiosi who extorted protection money from landowners and eventually evolved into the violent criminal organization known today as the Sicilian Mafia. Over time, the Mafia spread to the United States in the first half of the 20th century, splitting into several separate Mafia families, although they all share their own traditions and code of conduct. Regardless of your life path and activities, regardless of what you think about gangsters, many popular films, literary works, and computer games have formed a whole cultural layer from the Mafia for a huge number of people. And yes, you need to be able to look for positive aspects, even in terrible and disgusting people, because a real gangster can catch someone's strengths and weaknesses in a matter of minutes. This does not mean that you should strive to become a gangster, but applying some of their rules of life and wisdom will not be something superfluous. Here are 5 real quotes and life tips from famous mob bosses about loyalty, money, success, friends, and family that you should know. First quote: "Do not open your mouth in vain. Even the biggest fish will never be caught on a hook with a closed mouth." Joe Messino. Joe Messino was the first boss of one of the 5 families in New York, and he constantly liked to say that it is very important for any self-respecting man, even a fairly successful one, to be able to keep his mouth shut and never say too much. It does not matter whether it is communication with family, friends, wives, or enemies, personal relationships with mistresses or business relationships with business partners. The less you talk to anyone and say something thoughtlessly, the more likely it is that someone will be able to use your words against you. Learn to think before you speak. The hallmarks of a truly successful mobster is that he doesn't talk much and thinks over every word he says, even during provocations. Paul loved organized crime. Many mafiosi were killed or written off just because they could not keep a secret, talked a lot and could not keep their mouths shut. That is why in mafia families the one who knows how not to talk too much and always proves his reliability is always successful. Second quote: "No one owes you anything. No one will give you anything until you sincerely want to get what you consider rightfully yours." Frank Costello. Frank Costello was one of the most powerful mafia bosses in the United States, leading the Luciano family. Costello liked to say that the success of any man depends only on himself, his ambitions, character and determination. You can't wait for handouts or luck. You can't hope for favorable success. Your future is in your hands. Sitting on the couch and waiting for $1 million to fall into your lap. This probably won't happen. Winning the lottery is also not guaranteed. If you want to get something, start making an effort. Don't give up too quickly. Just because you got 1 or 10, or even 100, rejections, saw a few failures, does not mean that you should not move on. You've hit the bumps and learned your lessons. Try a new approach. If the front door is closed, try the back one. It's deceptively simple. Don't say things like "it would be nice if," or "we'll see what happens when." Accept the fact that you don't yet know how, but you know what you want. Start small. Be clear on the details of the result. Think about what you really want, not about what you don't want. Practice visualizing yourself in the situation you want to create. How do you do this? Start small. Your job is to explore possibilities. Getting what you want is not always easy. There are problems. Emotions, negative views, and comments of other people are thrown back. But in the end, it all comes down to your choice. Third quote: "Be careful who you call your friends. Friends are like bitches. Some are small, some are big, some are real and some are fake." Al Capone. Al Capone is perhaps the most famous gangster of the 20th century, who is considered one of the founding fathers of mafia clans in the United States during the Prohibition era. Capone liked to say, "Tell me who your best friend is, because he is more likely to be your worst enemy." Never share your inner self with anyone. If you reveal your weaknesses and betray your secrets to your enemies, you will become their poodle. When they betray you, they will treat you very badly. The point is that very often your closest friends, with whom you can freely share your innermost secrets, inner world, and the dark side of your personality, are more likely to know the true you. They know your secrets, your weaknesses, and doubts. Therefore, if your friends can turn into enemies in an instant, then they will be the worst, because they know all your weaknesses. They know things that can hurt you a lot. Therefore, take a closer look at those people whom you call best friends. Fourth quote: "Many men can build an empire, but few can build a family." "A man who does not value and never spends time with his family can never be a real man," said by an unknown boss of the Sicilian Mafia, whose quote was partially used in the movie The Godfather. Whether you've made significant progress at your first real job or your savings are over your goals, money is never permanent. The fact that right now you are earning a lot of money does not mean that your financial situation will be stable in the future. And in the pursuit of success, many men often forget to devote time to their family and friends. After all, although a large bank account may make you temporarily happy, it is not the same guarantee as the love of your family. A bad investment, loss of a job, or improper spending can cause your money supply to drop. Unlike your money, your loved ones are unlikely to instantly disappear from your life. Although your financial life may fluctuate and balance one way or another, the love of your family will keep you warm and motivated even during difficult times. Harvard University experts point out that strong family social ties can actually improve your physical, psychological, and emotional health. Feeling connected to family can help reduce stress and improve physical well-being. Money is important, but family should be paramount. Fifth quote: "A man should be like a fox and a lion. The fox is smart and cunning enough to recognize traps, and the lion is brave and strong enough to scare away wolves. Be like the lion and the fox, and no one will ever defeat you." Carlo Gambino. Carlo Gambino was one of the most secretive, cunning, and intelligent mafia bosses who simultaneously ran the U.S. Cosa Nostra Commission and was able to evade criminal punishment for decades until his death in his own bed. Carlo Gambino loved to read the works of the Florentine thinker Niccolò Machiavelli and constantly quote him. One of his favorite quotes, which he told to every capo and soldier in his family, is that any man should be like a fox and a lion. Niccolò Machiavelli used the metaphor of a fox and a lion to explain the combination of cunning and strength that a true ruler must possess in order to maintain control over his state. Machiavelli emphasized that the ruler must learn to imitate both the fox and the lion in order to adapt to new problems, acting like foxes to recognize traps and like a lion to scare off wolves. Machiavelli states that the lion is defenseless against snares while the fox is defenseless against wolves and other physical threats. Therefore, a true ruler must imitate the behavior of both types of beasts in order to take advantage of their talents and compensate for their weaknesses. Like a fox, a true ruler can use cunning statecraft and diplomacy to get around traps. Like a lion, a ruler can use physical force to maintain his power over his subjects and enemies. None of these talents alone means success, but the combination of political and mental cunning backed up by the thread of physical force is enormous. Thank you for your attention. And one of the gangsters said, "Be afraid that someday all your desires will come true and you will no longer have anything to strive for, and then you will lose the meaning of life."